What up, everybody? It's your boy Hammy, and I am live right now on YouTube and Twitter, and over here on TikTok. Hey guys on TikTok, thank you for joining me. You can't see my screens right now, but we're streaming live on YouTube. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is I want to talk about this whole, you're going to watch me eat my dinner. And I want to talk about this whole fucking Chinese spy balloon thing that they're feeding us. So let's get started here. I think we're going to start with watching a couple of videos, one from the Sunday morning show, these idiots at Fox, and then I want to also look at something from the opposing side, over at MSNBC. So let's kind of like set this up. Yep, that looks good. Let's hear what these knuckleheads have to say. Oh, there we go.
Joining me now, Senator Tom Cotton, who sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee, also the author of Only the Strong. Senator, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Thank you, Shannon. It's good to be back with you.
Okay, so you're on the Senate Intel Committee. Maybe you can help us out a little bit more with this timeline. General Keane, familiar to our viewers, says it's his belief that we knew about this when it left mainland China. We would have a way to track it over the Pacific. He's questioning why we didn't take it out then. Here's what Bloomberg said about why we didn't know more about it after it entered U.S. airspace January 28th. It says, with such a high-profile trip at stake, meaning the Secretary of State going, keeping it on the down low was key. The White House opted not to inform the American public. Events, however, soon forced Biden's hand. As Lucas has reported, and folks I've talked to in the Pentagon as well say, there are these balloons that have gone over before. So at what point do you have to tell the American public or not?
Well, Shannon, what began as a spy balloon has become a trial balloon, testing President Biden's strength and resolve, and unfortunately, the president failed that test, and that's dangerous for the American people. The president was paralyzed for an entire week by a balloon. We should have shot this balloon down over the...
He was fucking paralyzed? How the fuck was he paralyzed? It was all over the news. Everybody knew about it. Per what they're saying, they were trying to decide what to do, right? What they were going to do with this fucking balloon. But yes, I am the original. Hi, Paul. I'm the original owner of Broderick and West Sac. That looks like me because that's me. So, what's crazy is we just found out, it's my understanding, that and we'll talk about this later, 3 of these fuckers happened during Trump's administration and they never told us about it. We never heard about it, but it's been confirmed at this point. We'll get into that later.
We should never have allowed it to transit the entire continental United States. And I think there's a lot of open questions that the administration needs to answer to Congress on behalf of the American people about why they didn't. I think part of it is the president's reluctance to take any action that would be viewed as provocative and confrontational towards the Chinese communists. I would say what's provocative and confrontational is sending a spy balloon all across America. But second, I do believe the administration wanted to salvage the Secretary of State's trip on Friday night, and they got through Thursday afternoon. Thankfully, civilians in Montana and the Billings Gazette identified this balloon and blew the whistle on it, and finally the administration fessed up to the American people. It took another 12 hours before the Secretary of State canceled what was already an ill-advised trip. So I think there's a lot of answers for the administration to provide the American people.
So let me ask you about that, because you called immediately for the trip to be canceled. So
you can't fly a fucking drone in the U.S. without the fucking U.S. Air Force knowing about it. You can't fly a fucking drone. You can't fly civilian airplanes. I mean, this shit's seen. Everything's seen nowadays, and it has been for years. So I find it really hard to believe that this thing flew across the continental United States, even though it was really high in the air. Because you remember what's higher than this balloon? These fucking satellites. Do you know how many satellites are in the air right now?
Vice President Mike Pence had a different take. He did agree with you. Shoot down the Chinese balloon, but he said, go ahead and send the Secretary of State to China next week. Have Secretary Blinken look them in the eye and tell them it better never happen again. That's peace through strength. So why not have Blinken go and have this confrontation face to face?
Well, if the president had chosen to shoot down the balloon when he should have, over the Aleutians, as soon as it entered our airspace, that might have been worth considering.
Why do you think we didn't?
Again, I think President Biden.
Yes, we are being lied to.
Not to have to take any confrontational action.
We are being lied to.
Towards the Chinese communists. He wants to continue to develop what he called the momentum from his meeting with Xi Jinping in Bali last November, even though China has never taken any steps to try to bring it.
This guy's a fucking knucklehead. Let's feed him up.
Conflict with China, actual war by 2025. So where do you put the temperature this morning?
China has been waging.
No, I do not think China playing games. Do they own Biden? Hell no, they don't own Biden. This has nothing to do with fucking China and the U.S. and politics. This has to do with fucking commerce. And I'm going to get to that later there, Blandberger.
Cold War against the United States for decades, and unfortunately, not many of our leaders have acknowledged that they want to deny that it's happening. But when a nation like China is waging a Cold War against us, the only choice is whether to win or to lose. And I think this spy balloon that so vividly went across America is a very high-profile reminder to Americans about what the Chinese communists have been up to. Because I got to tell your viewers, if they're worried about a spy balloon flying across middle America, let me tell them about the TikTok app that they may have on their phone.
Hear that? There they went for the TikTok app. See, this is the agenda thing, right? All right, let's go see what the other side's having to say about this right now. Let's do what I saw. Now, this is Fox News. We'll go to that report in a minute. Conversation, where is it? Oh, where'd it go, man? Oh, here it is, guys. Here it is. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it was a very competently organized operation.
Now we're going to hear how good they did.
First of all,
we just heard the opposite.
Quickly, they were concerned about safety of Americans and infrastructure on the ground. They wanted to be able
rightfully
to
so.
the parts of it once it was brought down. I think finally they said, we're probably, as a policy matter, going to have to do something about the balloon and not ignore it. This is one of the most boneheaded moves by Chinese intelligence
No, it's not.
in the last 50 years.
No, it's not.
It's astonishing. A giant non-covert balloon lingering 60,000 feet over sensitive operations.
No, it's not.
What did they think was going to happen? I have a feeling.
It's 2023. Do you really think they need to fly a fucking balloon to spy on us in 2023? Do you really think that they need to fly over the U.S. with a fucking spy balloon with all the assets that they have? There's satellites in space right now that can fucking look down upon you and see your license plate number. It's been like that for 20 years. You've given all the information that anyone is ever going to need to the app that you're on right now, however you're watching me, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, or TikTok. You do every time you check in. All that data is for sale. And we know for a fact that the people that run and own these apps are complete and absolute fucking scumbags. We know that for a fact. Big tech is a fucking complete and absolute scumbags. They'll sell this shit to China, and if it's not them directly that'll sell this shit China, it's somebody that works in big tech that'll sell that shit to China. China fucking can break in. So can Russia, so can Iran. It's all for sale. If they don't want to pay for it, they can break in and get it. They have foreign assets on the ground in every embassy. They can break into our fucking infrastructure, right? They can break into our infrastructure to technical, like, they don't need a fucking weather balloon. So why is there these giant fucking balloons over across the U.S.? I'm going to tell you why I think. You don't have to believe me, but let me tell you what I think. We pulled out of Afghanistan after 20 fucking years. Right? 20 years. That was the industrial military complex just racking up money year after year after year. So we pull out. And let's not even, yes, I do have cats. I have cats and I have dogs. We pull out Afghanistan. What happens? There's a fucking war in the Ukraine. We start funneling money into the war in the Ukraine. And before you get on to it, we shouldn't spend money on Ukraine. I'm not telling you whether we do or not, should or shouldn't. I have a personal belief about that. But I'll tell you this, they're stockpiling weapons again. Every time a fucking tank is used, every time a missile shot, every time a plane is used, it needs to be replaced. It needs to be replaced. And we just, hey, I mean, let's be honest. This is why these things happen. Now, this fucking balloon thing, I believe 100% is just to drive another fear into us as a people so they can ramp up. Because here's the thing. We don't have a lot that can take these balloons down by the way that they fly. Right now, we did take one down, but they're not that easy. They fly like 30,000 feet higher than our fucking highest planes, right? They're slow. We're not really geared to fight we're fighting technology to technology nowadays. We're not geared, and I'm no military expert. From my understanding, though, we're not actually geared to fight something that is basically 200-year-old technology, right? We're not. You know what that means? We got to develop more weapons. We got to develop new weapons, guys. We got to develop new weapons. New weapons and they're going to take research and they're going to take funding and they're going to take money, right? Because we got to be safe. We got to be fucking safe. Watch, it's coming. There's going to be new technologies and new defense strategies, right? To go and to fight against, these new strategic threats, new spy threats.
That the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs had no clue this was going on. And it makes you wonder if President Xi has control of the PLA. This made no sense whatsoever. These balloons can, at low level, this one was lower, I thought it was over 100,000 feet up, it was actually around 60,000 feet. So they can collect slower, persistent ice. It's a cheaper system. But having said that, this absolutely brought to the fore Chinese hostility and aggression, not just the balloon.
You hear that? Chinese hostility and aggression. It's coming. We're going to need... I won't be surprised if he says it. We're going to need new systems. New systems.
But the South China Sea, islands off Japan, it's an astonishing turnaround for an authoritarian Chinese government.
Tracy, I want to stay on this point of the Chinese and what they were thinking. They have spy satellites. They have other ways to surveil the United States.
Right.
Why send a balloon?
Why?
So that's an excellent question. Thank you for having me. I think that this balloon most likely was, again, this is just my hypothesis, was most likely not taking pictures. As you correctly mentioned, we have spy satellites, they have spy satellites, many countries do, and those do take really excellent high-resolution pictures. That is something that a lot of countries have the capability to do. What I think this one was probably doing was taking measurement and signals intelligence, or something in the intel world we call MASINT. Those are nuclear signatures, radiation signatures, radar signatures, those kinds of things. And typically you do need to get a little bit lower to do this. But to the general's point, this...
She fucking made that up. Now, there's probably some truth in it. But this is what they're doing. They're ramping us up for a potential war with China. I went through this as a kid. I'm 56 years old. I remember the fucking Cold War. And I remember the almost war with the Soviet Union. And that's what they're doing. And before you start saying it's the Biden administration or it's the Republicans or it's the Democrats, it's the fucking military-industrial complex. That's who runs everything. This bullshit is why you can't have fucking affordable health care. This bullshit right here, where we spend our money, which they're getting ready to ramp us up for, is why your kids can't go to fucking college at a reasonable fucking rate. This bullshit right here.
It's quite an astonishing move. I completely agree. When I was an FBI agent, I worked Chinese counterintelligence. My job was to find Chinese spies here, and they never operated this brazenly. This is really actually a quite shocking turn of events. Typically, they're quiet, they're more difficult to find, and they're not this brazen.
Tracy, just to follow up on one part of this that I think a lot of people are wondering about, what can counterintelligence agents hope to learn from the wreckage of the balloon, this debris that is going to be recovered?
You know, the one good thing that can come out of this is...
Do you think we're going to fucking find the debris? Do you think we're going to find the debris? Or if they find the debris, do you think it's going to be the actual debris? That's what I want to know. Do you think they're going to find the fucking debris? Or when they find something and they say it's the debris, right? Let's see, where have I heard this before? Where have I heard this fucking shit before? What's that? What's the... All right. You guys remember, I don't want to sound like a fucking... I don't want to sound like a fucking conspiracy nut. I'm not a conspiracy nut. I don't think I am. And I'm not going to try and get into this whole thing about like fucking aliens and all this shit. Whether you believe this happened or not, or you believe aliens landed in Roswell in 1947, doesn't change the fact that there was all this evidence, and we came out and said, decades later, Roswell radio announcer Frank Joyce recalled contacting Halt by telephone to verify the release. Recalled Joyce, I said, Walter, don't run this story. If you do, you're going to be in trouble. They'll ship you out to Siberia. Remember mentioning that? That was a common phrase in those days. As soon as Marcy brought the material to General Ramey's office, both Ramey and his chief of staff, Colonel Thomas DuBois, identified the material as pieces of a weather balloon kite. The FWAAF weather officer on duty explained that to the reporters that such ray wind devices were used at about 80 weather stations across the country. The balloons were attached to a 6-pointed reflective device that looked like silver star. After launch, the balloon expanded with increasing altitude before bursting around 60,000 feet into pieces, then dispersing in their fall to the ground, as described in the July 9, 1947 edition, the Roswell Daily Record. The balloon which held it up, it was how it worked. Must have been 12 feet. This is all about these balloons. The point is, oh, look, see, that's 47. That's what they're talking about in 47. They go, what are we doing this? Are we going every 7 years we're using the fucking balloon? Bullshit. Every 7 years you figured enough people died off? You can't have affordable health care, affordable college, good police forces, good social services because of this garbage here. You can't. This is what we spend our fucking money on. I'm going to go to, there was an article, Chinese spy balloons over U.S. during Trump administration discovered after he left office, senior Biden official. Trump and his top defense and national security officials told Fox News Digital it never happened and that they were never briefed on any Chinese spy balloons. Information suggests that the Chinese spy balloons traveled all over the continental United States during the Trump administration and was discovered after former President Donald Trump left office. A senior administration official told Fox News. A defense official on Saturday said Chinese spy balloons briefly traveled over the United States at least 3 times during the Trump administration. So basically what they're saying, and I don't want to get into the whole fucking Biden-Trump thing, they're both fucking scumbags. Okay? They're both fucking scumbags. This is a money grab. I'm going to say it a million fucking times. It's about to be a huge money grab. There's no fucking way 3 of these balloons flew over the United States during Trump's administration, and we didn't know. There's no fucking way. That didn't happen. Because it either means we were incompetent, which I don't think we were that incompetent, or they're lying. Now, Trump lies. That administration could be lying. But the truth is, you're never going to fucking know. What they're doing is they're sowing the seed of doubt, man. Doubt. I will freely tell you I'm a fucking leftist, okay? And I know there's people in this audience right now that are on the opposite side of the political spectrum from me. They pit you and I against each other constantly. Who's they? It's not the media. It's not, right? They're complicit. The media is complicit. But it's not just the media. It's not the Republicans. It is the worldwide industrial military complex. Okay? You and I, they're going to make my side of the aisle think that it's your side's fault. And they're going to keep continuing to make your side of the aisle think it's my side's fault. How incompetent is fucking Biden, right? That's what they're going to say. Your side of the aisle. My side of the aisle is going to go into this whataboutism. What about Trump? This happened under Trump. That's what they're doing. So now we're going to fight about who knew what first. And while that's happening, there's going to be a bunch of fucking programs and bills and black money spent for God knows what. You're never going to fucking know. And this is going to be the scapegoat. And are the Chinese complicit? Fuck yeah, they're complicit. This doesn't make them look bad. What? It's not going to make them look weak because the fucking balloon got shut down. See, a big high-tech item didn't get shut down. A balloon got shut down. Guess where things and components are going to get made for all these high-tech things I just talked to you about, these new weapon systems. Every single fucking one of them is going to take a computer chip. You think that's going to get built in Akron, Ohio? You think that shit's going to get built in Akron, Ohio? You think that shit's going to get built in Tampa, Florida? Or Bakersfield, California? Fuck you. Fuck no, it's not. There's no way. It's going to get made in China, India, Vietnam. And it's not going to be, they're going to build the whole system. They'll tell you it's Lockheed Martin, but who's going to make things? But all those fucking parts, the little parts, they're not made here. You know, we need to ramp up the economy after this fucking COVID thing. Right? Just almost teetered in a recession. How do we do that? It's the war machine. We've gotten to the place where we don't even have to go to war to ramp up the war machine. It's the fear of going to war. It's the fear of going to war that ramps up the real war machine. And then we get to shoot off some of these weapons at Russia through Ukraine. We don't even have to do it. Somebody else will do it. There'll be some other hot spot. We'll be able to just give them the fucking weapons. See, we don't care. We don't care about the money in this. It's the contracts, right? It's the contracts for the weapons. And all the people that make money around the contracts for the weapons. Let's see what's going on. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go, guys. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Oh, there's another article I want to read. So, when will the media retract and apologize for pushing the false claim that Trump admin knew Chinese spy balloons had kept them secret? Colin Rugg. They're never going to. They don't need to. The whole point is to keep us fighting. They want you posting that shit. You're the fucking idiot, Colin. Breaking watch footage of Chinese balloon flying U.S. airspace during Trump presidency. I have no idea if that's real. Breaking reporter Brooks Sigmund spoke with Esper Bolton, Grenell, and the other ODD intel officers who all deny the anonymous reports of any Chinese spy balloons during the Trump administration. Do we give a fuck about that, guys? Do we want to hear that? Let's see.
It came over the continental U.S., and that's when they decided maybe to wait until the next time that they could have a chance over water, which was yesterday over South Carolina.
Do we know of any of these types of balloons going over American airspace before?
Not that we know of. I mean, Trump administration officials, at least civilian leadership, have said, and I've spoken to a number of former national security officials, they tell me they never were briefed on something like this. So if it happened, maybe the military knew about it but didn't brief the White House or any of these top officials, which...
Because there are accusations this morning. Thank you for that question, Rachel. There are media reports floating out there that this happened under the Trump administration. But when you talk to Trump...
These fucks are complicit. They know they're complicit. They know that it's bullshit. And they know this shit sells fucking Diet Pepsi. They know it does. They gotta feed these shows with something, guys. They don't give a fuck whether this... At this point, they do not care if any of this stuff that goes on is true. They don't. All the right-wing wailing about the Chinese spy balloon, and it turns out Trump let 3 of these balloons go over U.S. airspace while he was president. He knew. He said nothing. He did nothing. Mark Milley held secret calls with China in 2020 to undermining Trump. Mark Milley gave the order not to shoot down the Chinese spy balloon. General Mark Milley in 2015 declaring that China is not our enemy. Thank you, Antonio Sabato Jr. Dude, these fucking guys. This is a grift. In the grift, in the middle of the grift, all the places and ways you can make money are phenomenal. You don't have to be in on the grift. It's like when there's a lot of construction going on in your town, right? Let's say you're lucky enough to get a new stadium for your favorite sports team, right? Some town. I live in California, so let's say it's the Northern California, whatever, gets a new sports team. So the direct place where money is made in that, right, is in the contracts to build the stadium. But everywhere around that is where the real money's made. It's the hotels that go up, the parking lots, the restaurants, the bars, the housing values go up. I mean, all this stuff. This is why towns want this shit so much. And now I know it's kind of fucked up from time to time and it doesn't always work out that way. But in general, this is what happens, right? It's the ancillary things around the spotlighted item. Spotlighted item meaning the stadium. Right now, the spotlighted item is this military response to Chinese spy balloons. By the way, the Chinese will have to ramp up because they're going to have to. Actually, all countries will. If they're flying, and we know these are flying over other countries, right? This is not a U.S.-China thing. This is a global thing. Everybody's going to need to ramp up and spend more money on the military-industrial complex. Guaranteed. So, it's not just the military-industrial complex. It's everything around it. It's all the news footage, like all these pundits that get paid millions of dollars to talk. They're talking points. They get to pit us against each other. What happens? Ads are sold. Ads are sold. Websites are created. More bullshit is made. More spotlight on something that's an absolute distraction. And there's money to be made all the way around that. There's going to be 1 million people on YouTube like I'm doing right now. I don't have enough subscribers, but there's going to be 1 million people on YouTube right now absolutely trying. They're going to get monetization over this content. Wait till Joe Rogan starts talking about it. You know how much money he's going to make talking about this? Just indirectly. It's indirect. This money machine. But all the while, again, this is why you don't get fucking proper health care in the United States. This is why you don't get college or a proper education system. This is what we spend our money on. DC Drano, you're telling me with hostile media, House Dems foaming at the mouth, and deep state saboteurs everywhere that nobody said anything about Chinese spy balloons flying overhead when Trump was in office. If it were true, Nancy would have impeached him 3 or more times. He's not necessarily wrong with that. He's not necessarily wrong with that. But for the wrong reasons, right? He's trying to pit you against me. Rep Marjorie, she's such a piece of shit, but let's read this. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Chinese spy balloon. Happy Valentine's Day. Love, Fang Fang. By the way, have you noticed how this has become an absolute amazing place for Asian hate? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed all the memes that are making fun of the way people from the East speak? People with Asian descent? Fucking horrible, right? That shit's on purpose. I believe that 100%. DC Drano, we have 4 days of video evidence that Biden failed to stop a Chinese spy balloon from spying on Americans. Now Dems and media are claiming it happened 3 times under Trump. Okay, again, they're spying on us all the time. They're probably reading this fucking feed. They're looking at your phone. They know how much money's in your fucking bank account. They know what porn channels you fucking like to look at. Are you kidding me? They let you. The fucking spy balloon. Let's see what this said. Ivanka's Chinese trademarks were fast-tracked. Trump kept secrets from the public that the Chinese spy balloons flew over the U.S. during his time in office. Biden had a Chinese spy balloon publicly shot down, but do go on about how Biden is owned by China. President Xi of China and I are working together to give massive Chinese phone company, ZTE, a way to get back into business fast. Too many jobs in China lost. Commerce Department has been instructed to get it done. That's May 13th, 2018. You guys, they've done so much shit to us at this point. It's the same fucking game over and over with a few different pieces. That's how stupid we are. That's how fucking stupid we are. I cannot believe that the world, I don't know, I shouldn't say I can't believe. It is amazing to me though that we're falling for this over and over and over again. Same dance, different song. Same dance, different song. Same dance. When are we going to wake up? This is why we can't have nice things. This is why. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this. There will be new technologies that they probably already created them. The system around what they're going to do about this, they're going to say is probably already there. It's already there, but they just want to fund it now. Okay, Whatever technology, whatever thing that they want to fund, this is how they're going to do it. Okay? This is how they're going to fund it. And it's going to happen for the next 20, 25 years. 100%. But this is why we can't have nice things. They'll pit you against me and me against you because we have differences in things that we believe. And they exploit it. They've been exploiting it, and they've got incredibly good at it. And I'm not here to sit and say, I want to reach across the aisle and hold your fucking hand. If you don't believe that I believe like I believe, I'm not here to do any of that stuff. I'm not asking you to believe what I believe. I'm just telling you to look at it in earnest. Stop listening and look at it. Look at, is this make sense? Is this logical? Don't listen to who your favorite is anymore telling you anything. Is this logical? My answer is no. It's a fucking lie. It's a grift. It's about making money. And man, I just don't want to do it anymore. So with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up. It's Sunday night. I've been going for about 30, 40 minutes. You got to watch me eat my food tonight. That was kind of fun. I didn't have any crashes, so we streamed pretty good. And I think that's it. We'll see you next week on all these platforms. I love you. I hope you have a great Sunday night. Namaste. Be well.